Good evening and welcome to our wellness conversation tonight. I am so elated to have this session with you on our topic, waves of emotional wellness, and tonight I'm so excited to engage in the conversation under our subtopic on emotional breakdown. There has been so many times where people on an individual basis they experience emotional breakdown, and today we had such a great time exploring what causes emotional breakdown with the people that we connect with, and their responses, they were so touching, some so painful, some sad. But one thing that I cherished from the conversations that we had was that they were so authentic about what literally causes them to have an emotional breakdown, and some also telling us of their own personal statistics on what causes emotional breakdowns. I'm just glad tonight that we get to talk about this massive topic. Maybe before we can even continue much, I want us to define emotional breakdown. What is emotional breakdown? This is a period of an intense emotional distress where a person feels overwhelmed and unable to cope even. And sometimes you find that what is overwhelming to you may not be overwhelming to some other person. Sometimes you are overwhelmed by your experiences at work, overwhelmed by your experiences in your church place. You may have overwhelming experiences and devastating ones as well, maybe in a family setup or any kind of circumstances of your life that you find difficult to cope in. Emotional breakdown is when a person feels that they are unable to cope and they are having an immense distress emotionally. And I've been just sharing with someone recently that personally I have been experiencing an emotional breakdown due to this sad news that we receive daily, that there's been someone that has been murdered, this and that is happening, people are dying, young people are killed. Such sad news do cause an emotional breakdown to my life, in the sense that I am close to women, and I cherish them so much because I believe that a woman is an emotional being, and it's so sad when they are dying. And when you just go deeper with this news, you discover that these are innocent people. They are just dying for invalid reasons, and even if there could be any reason, there's no reason that could make somebody turn to killing somebody as a resolution. You find that some news, they are sad enough to cause us to have an emotional breakdown. Today, I'm so glad that we get to also discuss on our findings as to what did we discover that are some common causes of emotional breakdown. The first one that we came up with, that many actually were giving as responses, was financial crisis. That at most, financial crisis has caused them to have an emotional breakdown, because if I cannot be able to make ends meet, I find it hard to cope. It's so easy to find it hard to cope, and you feel overwhelmed because there are bills that have to be paid, there are things that I have, deadlines that I have to meet, and if I cannot be in a position to meet all those deadlines, it causes a financial crisis that you are unable to actually find yourself fixing there and there. And once you cannot be able to fix something there and there, it can cause an emotional breakdown. Another common cause of emotional breakdown that we came up with from the responses was people pleasing. Some mentioned toxic relationships and toxic environments. I think you could agree with me that being in a toxic environment can cause an emotional breakdown, because if you are in a place where you are not comfortable, you feel so much pressure, and and you can't be able to be in a position to perform at your best. Either it's at home or in the workplace, wherever that it is. But if that environment is toxic, it can cause an emotional breakdown. Some have given courses on toxic relationships, mental conditions, health conditions that have made them to be unable to have an emotional state. And these are situations that are happening in our environment that we ought to continuously pray for, that Lord come through for us, meet our financial needs, help us to practice not pleasing everybody, because it's impossible to please everyone. But each time we are in pursuit of pleasing people, sometimes pleasing them at our own expense, it can overwhelm us to the extent that we experience emotional breakdown. And I could attest that at some point, even in my own life and in the lives of others, there is a point in your life where you wanted to please somebody, but you couldn't please them completely, because deep in your heart you knew that you cannot be able to please this person, and you started faking and pretending just so that everybody loves you. But the truth is this, that it's not everybody that will love you, and you must make peace with that and ensure that you keep your peace. Your peace is very sacred, and there are things that you cannot be able to buy in a shop, in a store. There are things that you can not be able to purchase by your own money, such as your peace. If this thing is taking away your peace, if pleasing people is stealing away your peace, now you better start weighing whether or not you need such in your life. Also, I've been doing some research on this massive topic on emotional breakdown, and statistics have also proven that some factors that cause emotional breakdown are stress and also trauma and health conditions like depression. When you're going through anxieties, when you're going through stress, it is very, very, very difficult, and you'll find that sometimes you are not even in a position to talk to anybody, and that causes the emotional breakdown, because if you are not in a position to talk about it or do anything about it, it overwhelms you enough to cause a breakdown. It will be important for you to know how people react when they have emotional breakdown. I'm just going to give you these different symptoms. There are emotional symptoms, physical symptoms, and behavioral symptoms of people who are having an emotional breakdown. This will help you also to identify yourself, if are you having an emotional breakdown or not. So one of the emotional symptoms of an emotional breakdown is that you become so sad, you are filled with sadness, and you have what we call derealization. Sometimes you suffer from fear of the unknown. You have so much anxiety to the extent that it's often debilitating, and sometimes it just manifests out of the blue. You find yourself, you feel so down, and you are underperforming. You are no longer the way that you were before. Those are some of the emotional symptoms that are okay. You feel dejected, you feel like nobody loves you, you even cry. This shows that emotionally you are not well. Some other symptom, maybe let me just mention a few physical symptoms as well of emotional breakdown. Those are, you sometimes experience fatigue. You're so exhausted, every now and then you want to sleep. You were not working much, but you find yourself feeling so tired, and sometimes you experience a headache, or even struggle sometimes to make. Sometimes there are certain simple decisions that you make, but you find it hard. You find a hard time to make decisions. That is also another symptom of an emotional breakdown. Sometimes you find it even difficult to concentrate. You can't focus. You can't put your focus on something. You are always distracted. And even at night, sometimes you have what we call nightmares. You wake up with that bad dream, and you ask yourself, what is happening? And maybe it's because you are emotionally down. and sometimes you experience sleeping disturbances. Everybody has got that sleeping pattern. Like maybe at 8 o'clock or at 9 I get to sleep, and I wake up maybe at 5. Then you find that sometime I just wake up earlier. You wake up at 3 o'clock a.m. and you can't find yourself sleeping back again because you are disturbed, and some even suffer from insomnia and so on. Let's move on to the behavioral symptoms. What are the symptoms in terms of behavior that show that indeed you are having an emotional breakdown? One of them is that you begin to withdraw. You withdraw from the people that you love. You isolate yourself, sometimes even from some social activities that you used to love, but you find yourself withdrawing, and there's some personality changes that in your body, in your life, such that the people that matter to you, they end up questioning that have they done something to you or anything like that. Yet it is that you are going through an emotional breakdown. Now this brings us to the question that what can be done if you are having an emotional breakdown? I want us tonight just to end with you being able to understand that there are ways that we can cope if we are having emotional breakdown. I'll just share this two of these coping strategies that may help you as you are dealing with this. One of those coping strategies is building a support system. The truth is this: in life, you cannot be able to live your life alone. You are not an island. You cannot make it on your own. You need somebody when you are going through an emotional breakdown. Don't tell yourself that I can do all this by myself. When there's a dark friends of you, but you have been the one that has been eliminating the friends. Take time and just check, because you cannot trust anybody. So be in a position whereby you get to evaluate your circles, evaluate your companionships, and finding this one person that can be a confidant will help you, support you as you're going through whatever it is that you're going through. And you may not even have to tell them the whole details of what is happening in your life, but just sharing to somebody, it can help you to feel better emotionally. Maybe another coping strategies as we end, it's to be in a position to prioritize self-care. You must care for yourself. You must rest when it's time to rest. Don't overwork yourself. Don't overcommit yourself just because you want to please this one and that one, and you find yourself pleasing everybody but yourself, and you feel down emotionally, and nobody can help you because nobody knows what you're going through, and you have kept yourself alone. You are in your bedroom all the time. Your family members cannot be able to talk to you. Just practice self-care. Sometimes self-care is having all your loved ones in one room and laughing literally at nothing. Sometimes laughing at your mistakes, laughing at where you're coming from, childhood things that you did. It brings out this atmosphere of love. And the more that you feel love is the more that your emotional needs are met. Maybe one bonus I have for you is that you must have realistic goals. Sometimes what kills us is that we set the pace way too high, and we find ourselves unable to reach some of the goals that we have set for ourselves in the beginning of the year. Then we feel too disappointed in ourselves to the extent that we feel emotionally drained. In order for you to cope, you must just set goals that are realistic, goals that you can meet, checking where you are financially, and trying to forge a way forward in your life. I hope this session was worthwhile for you, and I'm hoping that we will have an episode of the same topic on emotional breakdown under our main topic on waves of emotional wellness. I had a great time conversing with a lot of you today while we were doing this research on emotional breakdown, and thank you so much for the inputs, for the love, for the support, and for subscribing. Keep subscribing, and please keep on sharing as well and liking. our YouTube channel. Thank you so much for listening, and may God richly bless you. I love you so much.